Good morning, guys. Yesterday, I asked you to do a little extra research about tornadoes, which is pretty cool because it's something I haven't really explored too much myself. Um, what we did find out, and what some people reported on, were that tornadoes are also called twisters, and that 1,200 tornadoes happen in the U.S. each year. That's crazy because I feel like we don't hear too much about those because of where we live. So thanks for collecting those facts and doing a little extra research. We're going to jump into chapter 28 called The Shop. It was a small, sleepy farm town. A few trucks glided down the streets. A few humans sat on porches. A few stores lined the main square. Rambler parked in front of a bright white building. Then Mr. Sharif left the children with Roz, and she limped inside. "Welcome to the Tech Lab shop," said a woman in a white suit. "My name is Nadine. How can I help you?" Mr. Sharif was distracted by all the robots on display in the shop. They came in a dazzling variety of designs and sizes and colors. Standing still, eyes glowing, they calmly waited for someone to put them to work. When the man spotted a Rosam unit, he suddenly remembered why he was there. "I'm the owner of Hilltop Farm," he said, "and we were just hit by a tornado." "I heard the siren," said Nadine. "Is everyone okay?" "My family's okay, but I've got a Rosam unit outside who's in bad shape." The woman called over her shoulder. "Patch, bring the Rosam repair kit." A robot marched into the room carrying a large case. He looked similar to a Rosam robot, but he was shorter and wider. The word Patch was lightly etched on his torso. Mr. Sharif led Nadine and Patch out to the truck, where the children were chatting with their robotic friend. Patch quickly scanned Roz's broken body and announced the cost of the repairs. The man stroked his chin, mulling over his options, until the children blurted out, "Just fix her!" Mr. Sharif nodded, and Patch sprang into action. With smooth, precise movements, the robot gently placed Roz on the ground. Then he grasped her broken arm and broken leg and twisted. There was a thwip sound as each limb popped loose. Then he took new limbs from the case and thwip popped them into place. In a matter of seconds, Roz was whole and back on her feet. "Robots never cease to amaze me," said Mr. Sharif, admiring Roz's shiny new limbs. "The makers really outdid themselves with these Rosam units," said Nadine. "However, you have our most basic unit. Would you like us to upgrade her software or adjust her settings or polish out these scratches?" "Will that cost extra?" Nadine smiled. "I'm afraid so." "The basic unit is fine," said Mr. Sharif, "but I need to order a work crew. Could you send one over to fix up my farm?" "Not a problem," said Nadine. "I'll send one over immediately." I wonder what would happen if they did upgrade her software, her internal computer brain. Would she still be Roz? You guys think about that, right? If the inside of her, the computer part, was to be affected. Hopefully he doesn't do that. Chapter 29, The Aftermath. Hilltop Farm was hardly recognizable. Buildings were flattened, equipment was missing, debris was everywhere. The farm had no electricity, and the computer system was down. As Roz picked her way through the rubble, she realized she was off the grid. It would be hours before Mr. Sharif could track her electronic signal again. Was this the moment for her to escape? No. Roz couldn't leave the Sharifs. Not like this. Instead, she did what she could to help. The tornado had left behind a winding trail of destruction. Thankfully, it hadn't destroyed everything. The barn was leaning to one side, but still standing. Roz forced open the door and found the cows nervously bunched together in the corner. "You're all safe now," said Roz in her calmest voice. "How's everybody feeling?" The robot was answered by a chorus of moos. "How do you think we feel? I'm a nervous wreck. My whole life flashed before my eyes." The robot raised her hand to quiet the crowd. "I'm afraid the tornado destroyed much of the farm, including the milking parlor." The cows gasped. "But my udders are about to burst," cried Tess. "Would you like me to milk you the old-fashioned way?" said Roz. One look at the robot's clampy mechanical hands and Tess shook her head. "No thanks. I can wait. An emergency crew is on the way," Roz explained, "but we cannot be here while they work. Please follow me." Roz carefully led the herd outside. through the wreckage and down to the pasture. Some of the fences were missing, and the herding machine was broken, but the cows promised not to wander off, and they began grazing on the wind-blown grass. 3 massive trucks rumbled up the driveway. Doors swung open, and a crew of robot workers climbed out. The lead robot checked in with Roz as the others began unloading supplies from the trucks. The crew got right down to business. Power tools buzzed, debris was cleared, fences mended, holes were dug, machines repaired or replaced. Beams and walls and roofs went up, equipment and pipes and wires installed. Clearly, these robots were designed to work as a team. The Sharifs wandered out back and stood with Roz. They watched as their farm was rebuilt before their very eyes. Several crew members marched over to the house, fixed the hole in the roof, and replaced the shattered windows. Finally, rubble and tools were loaded into the trucks, and the robots fell in line. "Are you satisfied with our work?" asked the crew leader. "I am satisfied," said Roz. At those words, the robots climbed back into their trucks and drove away. Hours after it had been devastated by a tornado, Hilltop Farm was better than ever. Chapter 30. The Gift. The children walked into the machine shed, past rows of parked farm machines, and found Roz tuning up the milk truck. "We got you a gift," said Jad, smiling. The robot felt something like surprise when the boy handed her a box wrapped in silver paper with a big red bow. "Can you guess what it is?" said Jaya. Roz started guessing. "A bucket? A rock? A hammer? A turtle? A can of—" "Okay, you can stop guessing," said Jaya. "Don't forget to read the card," said Jad. Nestled under the bow was a little card. Roz opened it and read the following, written in Jad's messy handwriting. "Dear Roz, thank you for taking such good care of our farm and our family. We spent all our savings on this gift, so you better like it. Love, Jaya and Jad. P.S. Please tell us more stories about the robot on the island as soon as possible." "Thank you for that nice card," said Roz, although the handwriting could use some improvement. Jad rolled his eyes and said, "Open your gift." The robot untied the bow and tore off the paper and lifted the lid from the box. Inside was a tool belt. It was made of dark leather and had a wide strap and different sized pockets for holding different kinds of tools. "We thought this might make your work a little easier," said Jaya. "It's designed specifically for Roz and robots," said Jad, "so it should fit perfect." The children helped Roz put on her new tool belt. Rather than going around the robot's waist like a normal belt, it went diagonally across her torso. Jad looped it over Roz's left shoulder and down around her right hip. Jaya laced the strap to the buckle and tightened until the tool belt was snug and secure across her chest. "Do you like it?" said Jaya. "I like it very much," said Roz. "Thank you for this lovely gift." The children smiled and hugged the robot. They really seemed to care about her. Roz wondered if they cared enough to help her escape from the farm. One of these days, she would have to risk everything and just tell them the truth. For now, however, she did the next best thing. She led Jaya and Jad out to the old oak tree and told them another story about the robot on the island. So you can see, over here, Jaya and Jad's letter. And that's reminding me what you guys are working on with letter writing that you started on Fun Friday. So we'll be writing more and more letters. Okay, one more chapter for today. Chapter 31, The Campfire. Wood smoke billowed up from the backyard and drifted across the farm. Roz was building a campfire for the Sharifs. In her old life, the robot made fire by cracking special stones together until she got a spark. In her new life, she used a lighter. The family sat around the flames and gazed up at the stars. The dog stretched out on the warm ground. The robot was standing nearby, but her thoughts were far away. Her computer brain was scrolling back through memories of campfires and of stargazing with Brightbill. Fluffy white marshmallows were skewered onto the ends of sticks and roasted above the flames. They liked them charred on the outside and gooey on the inside. When the Sharifs weren't stuffing their mouths, they were chatting happily. "That's the space station," said Jaya, pointing to a tiny dot that was slowly moving through the sky. "I can't believe people live there." animals live there too, said Jad. The station has a farm. We should bring our cows up and show those space farmers how it's done. I think our cows are perfectly content on Earth, said Mr. Sharif, and so am I. Once the marshmallows were gone, Jaya and Jad snuggled up with Oscar, stared into the flames, and asked their father about the old days. But the children were too cozy to stay awake long, so Mr. Sharif spoke to Roz instead. We made campfires all the time when I was a boy. The man poked the coals with his stick, and the glowing embers floated into the air. The whole family would sit around like this. But then my brother and sister moved to the city, my parents got older, and everyone expected me to take over the farm. I couldn't run this place by myself, he went on, so I hired Jamila. I did the farm work, and she managed the business. We made a good team. And then we fell in love. When Jamila was pregnant with Jad, we bought a few auto machines to help out. Then Jaya showed up, and we bought a few more. If I had known those machines would be the end of her. The farmer's voice trailed off. Roz wanted to know more about Jamila and about Mr. Sharif and about the rest of his family, but a normal robot wouldn't ask personal questions, so she kept her questions to herself and dropped another log onto the fire. So Mr. Sharif is really starting to open up to Roz. I wonder why, right? He's changed the way he has been treating her. So I'm going to ask you about that. Why do you think his attitude towards her has changed? And I also am wondering, Roz has really become kind of like a hero to Jaya and Jad, someone that they look up to. So I'm wondering, who do you look up to? Who has had an impact on you in your life? I'll look forward to your responses to hear who those special people are.